Good evening to you, everybody. Just a quickie to tell you about things to come, forthcoming content. Isn't it funny? I wasn't going to provide any more content, and now I'm talking about forthcoming content. But before I forget, just a follow-up from last night about the comparison between the Schiit audio. How do you pronounce that? Agir. That's their little. This is the model Agir 1. There's a 2 out now, I believe. But this is the one that's heavily biased into Class A. I always wanted to hear it. It's on loan from Carytown Audio or Carytown Sound. And listen, I do want to thank them. I have absolutely no interest in that company. I do want to say that. Mike there is a great guy. He offered. He said, hey, if you ever want to take a few things, not everything in the store, some things are way too precious for me to schlep. But some things, he said, if you ever want to take home and give a listen to, that would be wonderful. And I think that's great because that provides us with more content. It's not only content for you, it's content for me too, because we all enjoy this. But anyway, let me do a quick follow-up. I was impressed by the Schiit audio amplifier. Now, I will say that to my ears, the single-ended, the single-ended triode amp from Lab 12 was superior, but I am partial to the vacuum tube sound. However, if I were to pick apart the spectrum, the audio spectrum, there were areas of the spectrum where the Schiit did better, okay? Of course, the deepest bass was tighter, but you will never get the tightest of deep bass with any vacuum. I've never heard a vacuum tube amp that can do it. And there were areas of the mids and in the vocals that I thought the Schiit amp excelled in. But everything else from the holographic sound staging and all these, all the things that matter to me, and the overall, not to use all the audio terms, but to me, the realism and the sheer emotion of the music, and, just everything that it takes for me to put a smile on my face when I listen to music, the tube amp had, the Lab 12 had. And when I switched over to the Schiit, it became the ice cold steel rails of transistor amps. But it was still very, very good. It was very impressive. And which makes me want to now compare the Schiit audio amp with the, it's not in the room right now. I want to compare it with the Luxman L590 AX Mark II, which I'm going to do next. So that's a video to come. Stay tuned for that one. But I must say, I'm not totally down on Schiit. And by the way, this thing right here is larger than I thought. And heavier than I thought. I'd love to pull this cover off and take a look inside, but I don't own this thing and I'm not going to do it. But it did sound good. The thing is, when you compare things, okay, if all I had was the Schiit amp and I'd had nothing else, I'd live happily ever after with it. It sounded good. But of course, as soon as you start comparing things with something that's superior, then your ears say, whoa, I can't live without that one, or that one, or that one. So I am complimenting Schiit, even though I made a video or two in the past where I was not so happy with the company. And again, I don't own this thing and I'm not going to buy it. But I will give compliments where compliments are due. It was decent. What's really going to be telling is when I compare this Schiit to a transistor Class A, which will be the Luxman, which will be tomorrow night or the night after that. And you'll get to hear it as well. Going to also do a full review of the Lab 12. I'm still nurturing this relationship. I love it so far. There are a few nits that I want to talk about, design problems with it that I think are ridiculous, but in terms of sound, I'm loving it so far. And I want to review this DAC, which I highly recommend. And I also want to pull the cover off this DAC and get a look inside of it. It's the Lab 12 DAC Reference 1. DAC 1 Reference. And it is so, and when I say it's organic, in the DAC world, the best comparison I can give, the best analogy I can give you is this is the DAC equivalent of a 300B single-ended vacuum tube amplifier. Let me leave it at that. Okay, it's fantastic. I love it. And I'm going to tell you why in specifics later. So that's to come as well. Now, I've never really given you a full review of the Macintosh C8 as well. Again, I love the C8. I've got a nit or two about this one as well. So far, no nits at all about this DAC. I've got a nit or two about the C8, but in terms of sound, yes, I love it. Anyway, that's to come. Oh, the Klipschorns. I did a scathing review many moons ago about the Klipschorns, and now that I have them in a better room, spaced apart more properly, and now that I'm driving them through this DAC right here, which is somewhat of a Klipschorn equalizer, I noted that a few nights ago, they sound much, much better. They are an amazing speaker. And I'm vacillating back and forth between whether the Cornwall 3s or the Klipschorns would be my speaker of choice. The Klipschorns, though, are more, I don't know, more of a, I'm going off on a tangent, but they're to me, they're more of a, not a fetish, niche speaker. I can't, they have their place, but I don't know. I can't describe it. They're quite amazing, but some things they don't do well. And I want to describe that also. And some things they're amazing at, but some things they don't do well by virtue of the fact that they have to be placed very far apart and in the corners. So we'll talk about that as well. But very excited. I've been re-energized by the hobby again. I know you guys love the hobby too. Anyway, just wanted to make a quick update video. It's gone a couple of minutes longer than I wanted to, but hey, it's Stereo Police. Ciao. I'm glad you're along for the ride. And taking a break on drumming for a while. I always like to take a break. I'm going to get back to that, whenever I feel like drumming again. But I'm just a little bored with it right now. But get back to that at some point. Love you guys. I'm glad you're with me. And I love your comments, and I really appreciate them. Stereo Police. Ciao.